What if I told you that Roman Reigns didn't just quit WWE? He was systematically destroyed as part of a master plan that goes deeper than anyone realizes. August 4th, 2025. 3 tsunamis. 1 broken tribal chief. And a conspiracy that will reshape WWE forever. You think you know what happened on that Monday Night Raw? Think again. I've uncovered evidence that suggests this wasn't just a storyline write-off for Hollywood. This was the opening move in the most elaborate chess game WWE has ever played. Stick around, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and the future of WWE. Trust me, you've never heard this story told like this before. Today we're diving into the most shocking story in WWE history. The systematic destruction of Roman Reigns wasn't random. It wasn't just convenient timing for his Hollywood career. This was calculated, brutal, and designed to set up something so massive that WWE is keeping it under wraps until the perfect moment. Here's what we're going to uncover today. First, the real reason behind the August 4th attack and why it had to be that violent. Second, the hidden connections between Seth Rollins' Vision faction and Roman's Hollywood commitments that nobody's talking about. Third, the secret plan WWE has been building since WrestleMania 41 that will culminate in the biggest comeback in wrestling history. And finally, the shocking twist that even the smartest wrestling fans haven't figured out yet. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Roman Reigns had to be written off this way, why Seth Rollins is the perfect villain for this story, and most importantly, what's coming next that will blow your mind. But first, let me take you back to where this all began, because the seeds of August 4th were planted months ago. To understand the magnitude of what happened on August 4th, we need to go back to the beginning of 2025, because this story didn't start with 3 tsunamis, it started with one betrayal that changed everything. WrestleMania 41 wasn't just another pay-per-view, it was the night WWE rewrote Roman Reigns' entire destiny. Picture this, Roman Reigns, the man who had carried WWE on his back for over a decade, standing in the ring at WrestleMania, believing he had Paul Heyman's loyalty. The crowd was electric, the stakes were at their highest, and then, betrayal. Paul Heyman, the wise man, the special counsel, the man who had been by Roman's side through the Bloodline saga, turned his back on the tribal chief and aligned with Seth Rollins. But here's what nobody realized at the time. This wasn't just a shocking moment for television, this was WWE setting up the most elaborate long-term storyline in company history. Think about the psychology of that moment. Roman Reigns had built his entire identity around being the head of the table, the tribal chief, the man who commanded respect and loyalty. Heyman's betrayal didn't just cost him a match, it shattered his foundation. For months, Roman had to rebuild not just his character but his entire worldview. He went from being the dominant force with a powerful faction behind him to being a man standing alone, questioning everything he thought he knew about loyalty and power. But WWE didn't just want to humble Roman, they wanted to break him completely before building him back up into something even more powerful. That's why his return on July 14th was so perfectly orchestrated. When Roman's music hit and he saved CM Punk and Jey Uso from Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, it wasn't just a heroic return, it was the first step in WWE's master plan to create the ultimate redemption story. The crowd's reaction that night told us everything we needed to know. The OTC chants, the genuine emotion, the way fans embraced Roman as a hero for the first time in years, WWE had successfully transformed their most polarizing star into someone the audience genuinely wanted to see succeed. But here's the brilliant part. They knew this transformation was only temporary. They knew that to create the biggest possible impact for Roman's eventual return from his Hollywood hiatus, they needed to destroy him at his highest point. SummerSlam 2025 was the perfect setup. Roman and Jey Uso's victory over Breaker and Reed wasn't just a feel-good moment, it was WWE positioning Roman at the peak of his babyface run so that his destruction would have maximum emotional impact. The image of Roman taking a spear from Breaker to protect Jey, the family bond being restored, the crowd fully behind the tribal chief. All of this was carefully crafted to make what happened on August 4th feel like a genuine tragedy rather than just another wrestling angle. Now let's talk about August 4th itself, because what happened that night wasn't just an attack, it was a masterpiece of psychological warfare designed to write Roman off television in the most impactful way possible. But here's what most people missed. The brutality wasn't excessive, it was essential. The main event started innocently enough. Seth Rollins defending his World Heavyweight Championship against LA Knight seemed like a straightforward title match. WWE even banned Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed from ringside to maintain the illusion of fairness. But this was all misdirection. WWE wanted the audience to believe they were watching a normal championship match when they were actually witnessing the opening act of Roman Reigns' destruction. CM Punk's interference was the first domino to fall. When Punk emerged from the crowd and cost LA Knight the title shot, it created the chaos WWE needed to execute their plan. The argument between Punk and Knight wasn't just spontaneous emotion, it was WWE planting seeds for future storylines while setting up the perfect storm for Roman's downfall. But here's where the genius of WWE's booking becomes clear. Roman's entrance wasn't meant to save the day, it was meant to give him false hope before crushing him completely. When Roman's music hit and he cleared the ring of Breaker and Reed, the crowd erupted because they thought the tribal chief was about to restore order. Roman looked unstoppable, dominant, ready to reclaim his position at the top of WWE. That's exactly what WWE wanted everyone to believe. The systematic nature of the attack tells us everything about WWE's intentions. First, Seth Rollins hit the curb stomp, the move that had defined their rivalry for years. This wasn't just an attack, it was Seth making a statement about their history and his superiority. Then Braun Breaker delivered the spear, Roman's own finishing move turned against him, symbolizing how his own power was being used to destroy him. But it was Bronson Reed's 3 tsunamis that completed the destruction. Here's why 3 tsunamis were necessary. WWE needed to write Roman off television for months, potentially until WrestleMania season. 1 tsunami might suggest a short-term injury. 2 tsunamis could indicate a few weeks off. But 3 tsunamis? That's the kind of devastating attack that could keep someone out of action for half a year or more. WWE wasn't just writing Roman off, they were creating a storyline injury so severe that his eventual return would feel miraculous. The image of Roman refusing help and walking out alone wasn't just good television, it was character development. This was WWE showing us that even in defeat, Roman Reigns maintains his pride and dignity. He won't be carried out on a stretcher like a victim. He'll walk out on his own terms, even if he's broken and battered. This moment established that when Roman returns, he won't be coming back as someone seeking sympathy, he'll be coming back as someone seeking vengeance. The Vision standing tall over Roman's broken body wasn't just a victory pose, it was WWE crowning their new dominant faction while simultaneously creating the perfect antagonists for Roman's eventual return story. Now here's where the story gets really interesting, because Roman's Hollywood commitments aren't just a convenient excuse for his absence, they're an integral part of WWE's long-term strategy that most fans completely misunderstand. WWE isn't just accommodating Roman's movie career, they're using it as a weapon to make his return even more impactful. Let's break down what we know about Roman's Hollywood projects. Reports suggest he's signed on for a major blockbuster, possibly a superhero film or a high-profile action movie that could elevate his mainstream profile to rock-level status. But here's what the wrestling media isn't telling you. WWE has been planning for this Hollywood break since early 2024. They knew Roman would need extended time off, and instead of seeing it as a problem, they saw it as an opportunity. Think about how WWE has handled other stars' Hollywood transitions. When The Rock left for movies, WWE struggled to fill the void he left behind. When John Cena started focusing on Hollywood, WWE scrambled to create new main event stars. But with Roman, they're doing something completely different. They're using his absence as a storytelling device that will make his return feel like the most important moment in WWE history. The timing of Roman's destruction tells us everything about WWE's strategy. They could have written him off quietly with a minor injury angle or simply had him lose a match and disappear. Instead, they chose the most violent, most emotionally devastating write-off possible. Why? Because they want fans to spend the next 6 months thinking about Roman Reigns. They want social media buzzing with speculation about his return. They want every WWE show to feel like it's missing something crucial. But here's the masterstroke. While Roman is away filming his Hollywood project, WWE is building the perfect storm for his return. Seth Rollins and The Vision will continue to dominate, becoming more arrogant and more destructive with each passing week. CM Punk and LA Knight's tension will develop into a full-blown feud, potentially fracturing the babyface side of WWE. By the time Roman returns, the landscape will be completely different, and he'll be the only one who can restore balance. WWE has learned from The Rock's Hollywood success that mainstream exposure can actually enhance a wrestler's drawing power when they return. Roman's movie will introduce him to millions of new fans who might not watch wrestling regularly. When he makes his comeback, WWE won't just be getting back their top star, they'll be getting back a bigger star than when he left. The brilliance of this strategy is that it turns Roman's Hollywood career from a potential negative into a massive positive. Instead of fans feeling abandoned by their top star leaving for movies, they'll feel excited about his return because of how brutally he was written off. Instead of his movie career competing with WWE, it becomes part of his wrestling storyline. When Roman returns, he won't just be the tribal chief, he'll be a Hollywood star who chose to come back to WWE, making his presence feel even more special and important. Let's talk about The Vision, because Seth Rollins didn't just form a faction, he created the perfect antagonist group for Roman's eventual return, and the psychology behind this faction is absolutely brilliant. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman aren't just 4 guys who decided to work together, they represent everything Roman Reigns has lost and everything he'll need to overcome. Seth Rollins as the leader makes perfect sense from a storytelling perspective. He's Roman's former Shield brother, the man who knows all of Roman's weaknesses, and the one person who can legitimately claim to be Roman's equal. But Seth's motivation goes deeper than just rivalry. He's building the Vision as his answer to Roman's bloodline, proving that he can create something more dominant and more destructive than anything Roman ever built. The addition of Paul Heyman is psychological warfare at its finest. Heyman isn't just the Vision's mouthpiece, he's a constant reminder of Roman's greatest betrayal. Every time Heyman speaks for Seth, every time he strategizes for the Vision, he's twisting the knife deeper into Roman's psyche. WWE is using Heyman's presence to ensure that when Roman returns, his motivation isn't just about reclaiming his spot, it's about getting revenge on the man who destroyed his trust. Braun Breaker represents Roman's future being stolen from him. Breaker is everything WWE wants in a next-generation star: young, athletic, legitimate, and hungry. By aligning him with Seth, WWE is showing that the future of the company is moving on without Roman. When Roman returns, he won't just be fighting for his present, he'll be fighting to prove he still has a future in WWE. Bronson Reed is the muscle, the enforcer, the man who delivered the 3 tsunamis that wrote Roman off television. But Reed represents more than just physical destruction, he represents the new breed of monster that Roman will need to overcome. Reed isn't like the giants Roman has faced before. He's agile, he's vicious, and he's completely loyal to the Vision's cause. The genius of the Vision's formation is that it creates multiple layers of conflict for Roman's return. He can't just come back and challenge Seth for the title. He needs to dismantle an entire system that was built specifically to keep him down. This isn't just about winning matches. It's about proving that his way of doing business is superior to Seth's vision for WWE's future. But here's what makes the Vision truly dangerous. They're not just destroying Roman's legacy, they're rewriting it. Every week that Seth holds the World Heavyweight Championship, every victory that Breakker and Reed achieve, every promo that Heyman cuts, they're building a narrative that WWE is better off without Roman Reigns. They're making fans question whether Roman was ever really as important as they thought he was. This psychological manipulation is exactly what WWE needs to make Roman's return feel urgent and necessary. When he finally comes back, it won't just be about personal revenge, it will be about saving WWE itself from the Vision's tyranny. Now here's where we get into the really juicy speculation, because I believe WWE has already mapped out Roman's return, and it's going to be bigger than anything we've seen before. Based on the patterns in WWE storytelling and the way they've positioned the pieces on the board, I can predict exactly how this is going to unfold, and it's going to blow your mind. First, let's talk timing. Roman won't return at a random Raw or SmackDown. WWE is going to save his comeback for a premium live event, and I believe that event is going to be the Royal Rumble 2026. Think about the storytelling possibilities. The Vision has dominated for months, Seth Rollins is at the peak of his arrogance, and then Roman's music hits as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble match. The pop from the crowd will be deafening, and WWE will have their WrestleMania main event set up in one perfect moment. But here's where it gets interesting. I don't think Roman is coming back as the same character who left. The brutal attack on August 4th changed him, and WWE is going to use his time away to evolve his character in ways we haven't seen before. When Roman returns, he won't be the tribal chief seeking to reclaim his throne, he'll be a man on a mission of complete destruction. The Hollywood connection plays into this perfectly. Roman's movie experience will give him new confidence, new presence, and new mainstream credibility. But more importantly, it will give him a different perspective on what really matters. He'll return not as someone desperate to prove himself, but as someone who has succeeded outside of WWE and is choosing to come back to settle unfinished business. Here's my prediction for how WWE will structure Roman's return storyline. Phase 1 will be his surprise Royal Rumble appearance and victory. Phase 2 will be a series of mind games with the Vision leading up to WrestleMania, where Roman systematically dismantles each member of the faction. Phase 3 will be the WrestleMania showdown with Seth Rollins, but with a twist. It won't just be for the championship, it will be for control of WWE itself. But here's the secret element that I think WWE is planning. Roman won't return alone. I believe he's going to bring backup in the form of a new faction that rivals the Vision in power and influence. Think about it, Roman learned from the bloodline that family isn't always reliable, and he learned from his solo run that going it alone has limitations. His new faction will be built on loyalty earned rather than blood relations, and it will be designed specifically to counter every advantage the Vision has. The beauty of this long-term booking is that it turns Roman's absence from a negative into the most anticipated return in wrestling history. Every week that passes, every victory the Vision achieves, every fan who wonders when Roman is coming back, it all builds toward a moment that will feel genuinely historic when it finally happens. So there you have it, the complete truth behind Roman Reigns' shocking WWE exit and the master plan that's been months in the making. What looked like a simple write-off for Hollywood commitments is actually the most elaborate long-term storyline WWE has ever constructed. The August 4th attack wasn't just brutal, it was necessary to create the emotional foundation for the biggest comeback in wrestling history. Think about what we've uncovered today. Seth Rollins didn't just form the Vision to fill the void left by Roman, he created the perfect antagonist group specifically designed to make Roman's return feel like the most important moment in WWE history. Paul Heyman's betrayal, Braun Breaker's emergence, Bronson Reed's destruction, every piece was carefully placed to maximize the impact when Roman finally comes back. The Hollywood connection isn't WWE accommodating Roman's movie career, it's WWE weaponizing his mainstream success to make him an even bigger star when he returns. While he's away filming blockbusters and gaining new fans, the Vision will be making WWE feel incomplete, making every fan count down the days until the tribal chief reclaims his throne. But here's what I want you to remember. When Roman Reigns returns, and he will return, it won't just be about getting revenge on the Vision. It will be about proving that WWE needs Roman Reigns more than Roman Reigns needs WWE. And that, my friends, is how you create a comeback story for the ages. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Roman will return as a hero seeking justice, or will he come back darker and more ruthless than ever before? Who do you want to see in Roman's new faction when he makes his comeback? And most importantly, do you believe WWE can pull off this long-term storyline, or are they setting themselves up for disappointment? Drop your predictions in the comments below. I read every single one and I love debating wrestling theories with you. If this deep dive opened your eyes to WWE's master plan, smash that like button and share this video with every wrestling fan you know. They need to understand what's really happening behind the scenes. Subscribe to WWE Report for more exclusive breakdowns where we don't just report the news, we uncover the truth. Ring that notification bell because when Roman Reigns finally makes his return, you'll want to be the first to see our analysis of how it all went down. Until next time, acknowledge the tribal chief, question everything you see on WWE television, and remember, the best stories are the ones they don't want you to figure out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue to peel back the curtain on the wild world of professional wrestling.